world go round. I'm trying to get it all right now. Everybody worry about the crown. Big, look, homie, I'm the man right now. Talking to a PI, kind of time we on. Don't roll like the kind of take eons. Got a little.
Yeah. What's up, everyone?
I get it on right now. I don't know what the fuck he's saying, but that shit always goes so motherfucking hard.
Get that ugly face. What's everyone? What's up, everyone? Welcome to live episode here of Spill the Tequila. When last we saw Spill the Tequila, my friend was running from some fires, but he is absolutely in a better place. He escaped all that stuff. Nothing got burnt down in his place, thank God. And both him and his lovely lady were safe from all that. But yes, Winston A. Marshall is here joining me, the Outlaw John Rocha. How are you, Winston?
That was a bitch and a half, man. That was scary. That was really scary. That was the day that we evacuated, man. And you know, I am grateful that you know, like essentially just to give people the idea of what was going on.
Please break it down, my man.
We ultimately, where we were about 1 to 2 blocks south of the evacuation line.
Oof.
The problem was with winds kicking the way that they were, and because they really weren't containing anything, and that was like day 1 or 2 of the fires.
Right.
It was an immediate like, no, we need to start packing stuff. And then they started evacuating everybody above that line from where we were. So the panic was because we were seeing the traffic. The air was already as bad as it was.
Yeah.
If it had gotten past that line, it would have been too late at that point to do anything. Yeah. And so we made the decision to be like, we gotta go. Yeah. And honestly, it was scary, sure, but I think the thing that was more telling was this weird sensation of, how do you pack up your life in 10 minutes?
Oof, great question.
Like legitimately, like the immediate stuff makes sense. You grab the hard drives, pack up the computer, get the documents, but then it's like, okay, if you have enough, we've got a little extra time here to figure this out. Do I bring my high school yearbooks? Do I bring my childhood blanket? Like, do I grab photos of like my grandparent? Like, what do you pack up to get the hell out? And then you got to sit here and just pray that you get to come back to this shit. Yeah. And so it was really, it was a weird kind of just slap to the face. I think the moment of that night that was more just like rattling was the fact that one of my sister's best friends, he had just put like his life savings into getting, he's a writer as well, savings into getting this house in the Hollywood Hills that he had put all his money into renovating and all that. And then all of a sudden he is in the middle of the zone that is just fully burning everything out. Wow. And so he was telling his own story of it. And when we all, you know, were at my sister's trying to, you know, just have a safe place to be and all that. Like he was just telling that and had the emotional break, and we were starting to, and you know, thank God for him. They were able to contain it right before his neighborhood. It was just shy of his neighborhood.
Jesus.
So he was able to get back to his home and all that kind of stuff. But like he was without power for a while. So like once it was safe, he just went in and, you know, put some stuff back, got some stuff that he needed, whatever. And then he just left town for a little bit to try and clear his mind, because emotionally that would drive you crazy. Because Lord knows the number of people that have lost everything. Like it's crazy to me how some people have been so callous. Well, celebrities, they're all rich people, whatever. Altadena is a historically black neighborhood that got hit by the Eaton fires, and they're black folk that have had generational homes gone, and they're not multimillionaires or shit. It's just land that their families have owned because they were kind of forced out with redlining and shit, and that's all gone. That your family's house has been there forever is gone. And so it's been a wild 21 days. It's been 21 days. This is my favorite tweet that I saw is, I had my 7-day free trial. I would like to return 2025, please. I'm fully there. You got 21 days is typically the longest trial. And I am totally happy to turn this shit back in. I don't want it.
Amazon says I can turn this back in until the 31st. So I'd like to turn it back in now.
But I gotta ask you, man. I gotta ask how you're doing, like, because now I saw your tweets this morning that it was you said, well, shit, I guess it's my turn where you guys were having to potentially evacuate.
Yeah, this is what was literally 3 to 5 minutes from our house. This was 3 to 5 minutes from our house yesterday. We got the order for the evacuation area, which is that's a little bit of a government. That's the post office, backyard government installment, and then we had to move. They evacuated certain residential areas around there, and then if it had jumped the highway, which is of course what you worry about with the winds and stuff,
right?
Then it would have absolutely come into our neighborhood. And the thing is, my life partner was running around the house taking videos of everything because we have insurance and we have fire insurance, all of that. I've had that for years, earthquake insurance as well. And so we were taking video, and I'm just going like, okay, how the hell do I pack a bag? Just like you just said, how do I pack a bag with my important things? What do I take? What do I leave? What's important to me? What isn't? And thankfully we didn't get to that point where we had to pack a bag, but she was already like writing things down that she thought she would maybe have to pack if we had to go. So they contained it within an hour of my tweets. But they had been working on it for like 3 hours, I think. And it was 3 to 4 acres of a brush fire. And then today, there was fires by Kevin Smetz's area where he lives here in San Diego. His daughter was evacuated from her school. And so it seems like from the last update I got here that they are okay, or they're containing it, but it was crazy. Good. These are brush fires, but it is tough to believe that this isn't. I know I don't want to get into conspiracy theories, not this early in the show, but
it's too soon for that. We'll get there. We'll get there. Just it's a little soon for that.
Yeah, we'll get there. But like, it certainly feels like these are being said on purpose by people, and they've arrested. I saw that they arrested somebody for the Griffith fire. I don't know if that's true or not, but I saw that online. So
all of them, I can't speak to that, but there have been plenty of proof of people that it's similar to what was going on during the George Floyd protests and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. There were people that were genuinely good faith just out there protesting. Yeah. There were some people who were ill faith actors, but there were people that had nothing to do with those protests that like they got it on video of a fucking cop with a sledgehammer going around smashing building windows. Like, hey, what are you doing? Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like, there's always going to be it's why I honestly think The Dark Knight might genuinely be Nolan's best movie. Yeah. And it's both because of how well shot it is, but there are so many life lessons in that movie that address so many things. It's like some people are greedy, some people or whatever, but there are some people that are just like to watch the world burn.
Yes.
And that is literally, when you see those chaos actors there, they aren't working for some nefarious government agency and some conspiracy. Some people just are insane and love to just watch the chaos. So yeah, man, I'm very glad that you are fine, that you're doing safe, that you're safe, and you don't have to worry about that, because that is, I'm so sorry that you even had to deal with that fear, man.
It was crazy. It was like half an hour, 45 minutes of being, and of course, in no way does it compare to what people dealt with in LA, because that was real, and seeing all the devastation, entire Pacific Palisades community wiped out. That is heartbreaking, and certainly I shed a few tears watching the footage, because I lived there for 20 years in LA, so those areas used to be places I drove through, hung out in, saw friends in, went to dates in, a lot of those areas. And so for me, seeing the devastation and hearing about some of the landmarks that went down, like the Will Rogers house, all these places, it's heartbreaking, very, very heartbreaking. So the fact that even something kind of similar to what you all went through there popped up near me, it was like, oh my God, what is happening here? Why is this going on the way it is in such harsh ways, so yeah,
I want to find this one joke for you, because this shit had me fucking dying. This is my buddy that I met years ago. I was in a short that was I gotta find it, but I was in a short that was in NBC Universal's like short films fest, and it was a great thing that he did. But he specifically was talking about conspiracy theory wise about the election.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it. Do we go on to our first topic? As soon as I find it, I'll pull it up. But you want to talk about conspiracy theories? This is a really good one.
Yeah, other than Trump saying that he messed with the vote counting computers, that Elon messed with the vote counting. Anyway, we'll leave that be for a little bit later. That's just too soon to get a conspiracy theory.
Too soon.
Let's get into our. But by the way, we're live here, so thank you to everybody who's joining us. Almost 150 people joining us already live. Thanks so much. And for those of you who hung out with me live earlier today, as I was talking about the Justin Baldoni footage, thank you so much for those. A lot of you hung out. Winston A is here, and we're gonna have some fun talking some topics. Send in your love through Streamlabs and SuperChats. You see the Streamlabs address above Winston's head. It's also pinned in the chats in the description of the video here as well. Send your love because we want to answer your question, thoughts, and comments and all the stuff we got going on here. We're going to have some fun. We are going to tackle some serious topics. We're going to tackle some fun topics, but we're going to end everything on a more positive, higher note by the end. So just hang on. Let's have some fun, and let's talk about all the stuff we got going on.
I found it. So if you're ready.
Here, I'll put it up. So explain to the people what this is again.
Yeah, so this is a buddy of mine who just does stand up and whatnot. He was just talking about Black conspiracy theories.
Okay.
So here we go.
Let's hear it.
The Civil Rights Act gets passed. 1965, Malcolm X gets assassinated. 1995, O.J. Simpson gets let off. 1996, Tupac dies. 2008, Barack Obama gets elected. 2009, Michael Jackson dies. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to say, I'm glad Kamala lost. They were gonna take LeBron James. That's what My friend was like, "You heard Donald Trump won?" I'm like, "Yeah, but we still got LeBron, motherfucker."
just a real simple joke, but it's really funny because that's how you, in my opinion, take something that is like, it could be kind of serious, like whether it be talking about conspiracy theories or whatever the fuck it is, but it's just like hey, we saved the GOAT, dog. We saved LeBron.
Yeah, you gotta find the humor and the madness, You gotta find the humor and the madness.
And that is what the catchphrase for Black people has been.
Yeah,
forever. When you go watch a Richard Pryor,
I can only imagine.
A Bernie Mac, anything. It's you laugh to prevent yourself from crying. And that's what that is. Is that's a moment where it's like, yeah, we just gonna make a quick joke real quick. It'll make us feel a little bit better,
Yeah, you got to, man. You got to. And look, remember, 77 million people voted for Trump. 75.5 million people voted for Kamala. So yes, they won, but it's only by a very, very, very small percentage. Don't lose hope. Don't lose belief. We must come together for sure, but we can't come together until we put down a lot of these lies and misinformation and bullshit and actually communicate and connect and accept a certain base level of facts to be the truth. If we keep dealing in misinformation because there are, as you said, Winston, earlier, bad faith actors who are invested in dividing us, invested in pumping out misinformation, we won't be able to come together. And that's what we need to do here. And the last thing we need is a well-known country singer at an inauguration not shaking the former vice president's hand when she goes up to sing. Those things that when someone says, which is what that person said on her own social media, that she wants to bring people together, she wants unity. When you take actions in those moments that aren't unity, you're a bullshit artist and you're a bad faith person, and we don't need to listen to you because you're a liar. And those are those things you see, and that's what's got to be brought out when you look at this stuff. So anyway, let's get into this other stuff. We're going to get into this. Let's move on. Let's move on to some other stuff that's going to get it, because we're going to wing back around definitely to the inauguration, to Elon Musk and what happened there. We'll talk some NFL playoffs, and we're going to get into maybe if there's enough time, Winston's feelings on this AI controversy going on with the Brutalist. So we'll hear what Winston thinks, his snap judgment on it all. But first, we got to start. I'm in a hey.
What about Papa?
Shalami. We got to hit the Star Wars news here first, Winston. This pretty man here, Ryan Gosling, dare I say this, this Fall Guy, he is a 3-time Oscar nominee, but he is in negotiations. This broke this morning from Boris Kidd over there at Hollywood Reporter. He's in negotiations to top line the Star Wars feature project that will be directed by Shawn Levy. And it's unclear when the project is set. It's also unclear if it concerns Jedis and their enemies, the Sith. But it's supposed to be unconnected to the Skywalker saga. It's meant to be a standalone movie. Sources say the Gosling development is a late in the game move for Levi's movie schedule. The filmmaker was eyeing to direct a boy band movie set up at Paramount, which would have reunited him with Ryan and Hugh. But apparently Ryan's interest in the Star Wars project is what shifted everything around. And if a deal gets made, the project would continue to fly like the Millennium Falcon, becoming not only Levi's next movie, but also the next Star Wars movie to go into production, or, because we've had the Mandalorian and Grogu movie in production here. And Gosling would be the first A-lister that they've ever gotten to headline a Star Wars film. Yeah, you might argue Ewan wasn't quite an A-lister. Neither was Liam. Natalie wasn't quite there.
Liam wasn't at that point?
Big one. Yeah, I mean, there were no names, but they weren't quite at that stage. I mean, Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, kind of up-and-comers. Yeah. So there's a little bit of that. So, but either way, man, what do you think about this? Do you think this is going to happen? And do you like this idea that it will be Ryan Gosling maybe leading a Shawn Levy Star Wars project?
I mean, it'll be interesting. I think that Ryan Gosling, I really enjoy his acting.
Yeah.
I think the one question that's been kind of fielded here is that he obviously is a fantastic actor, but people are asking, he obviously has the looks, but if he truly can lead a project, because the things where he is either co-leads or so La La Land, The Notebook, things like that, Barbie, he crushes. And you know what I'm saying? But then you look at, you could make the argument that Fall Guy was a co-lead situation, but it really was his movie more so than it was
good point.
Emily Blunt.
Blunt's,
didn't necessarily hit. You could make the argument that he was kind of a co-lead with Blade Runner 2049, but didn't hit. So every time he kind of takes center stage, the only one I could think of maybe is Drive.
It was
Drive.
Absolutely his movie.
Driver was the other one. So that's the only one you can make the argument, but that's really more of a cult classic. That didn't do box office numbers.
Right.
So I think that he is a leader in that regard. He can do it. He's a leading man in that regard. But that is a legitimate question that people are asking. So I am a little curious about how that plays out, just knowing that.
This is a fair point you bring up, because you look at, the Fall Guy, that's his movie, you could argue, with Emily Blunt for sure, but it's his movie, Fall Guy. He's playing the main guy, and the movie underperforms. And you look at Barbie, that blows up, but that's Margot Robbie's film that he is certainly a strong second lead in. The Gray Man, I don't think did that well in Netflix. There for the Russo brothers. First Man underperformed for Damien Chazelle. Blade Runner 2049 was no box office hit for Denis Villeneuve. La La Land, certainly, but that's him and Emma Stone. And Emma, I think, is the one that won the Oscar off that. Nice Guys is him and Russell Crowe. Big Short, he's part of an ensemble. Only God Forgives, again, a film that did not do well. The Refn film that followed up. Drive, Place Beyond the Pines, another one. Did not do that well, but certainly well known. Crazy Stupid Love, that's him and Carell and Emma. So
and Julianne Moore. That was an all-star cast for that.
Yes, and Marissa Tomei in a cameo role as well. Drive, and then you get into the smaller stuff like Boo Valentine, Lars and the Real Girl, Half Nelson, Fracture. The Notebook is the thing, of course, that announced him, but here's a lot of smaller type of things. And don't forget that he was in Remember the Titans as one of the players there. No one saw that guy becoming what he became. And so it's a fair point that he is, yes, an A-lister in that he is Ryan Gosling and everyone knows him. And, he got nominated and all of that. And the song did so well when he sang it. But on the other side of the situation is, how many of these big franchise pictures has he led and actually had success with? I mean, Shawn Levy did a great job with Deadpool and Wolverine, regardless of whether you think it's a good movie or not. 1.4 billion tells you he was successful with that. So this could be the coming together of Shawn needing to find a strong lead for his film that could be a name actor, and Ryan needing a success here after kind of underperforming with a lot of his films that he was the lead in. So I think this makes a lot of sense, you know, and he looks good, I think, in the Jedi robes and what have you. Don't you think?
I think he could crush it. Like, I'm not denying that. Like, again, I think he is a talent, and I'm not necessarily somebody that has that concern one way or the other.
You're right.
But it is something that people talk about. And I would, like, people said, I was like, bro, shut up. And then someone started listing the movies, and I was like, that's because, like, even if you make the argument, let's say Liam Neeson, you might be like, I don't know if he necessarily leads up, but like the Taken franchise blew up, like it did its thing.
Right.
There, every single person that is hit that and they're like, they can lead a film, either you won some sort of crazy award for it,
yes,
or it was a box office success. So like, I'm trying to think of like just some other like examples that come off my head. Florence Pugh.
Yeah.
Florence Pugh has been nominated for multiple Oscars.
Yeah.
Like, you know, has had her movies do exceptionally well where she's the lead of it and things like that.
Right.
I'm trying to think who else is just out there. Hell, even Emily Blunt, like watching her in A Quiet Place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And how that has done well for itself and things like that. So I am not saying that Ryan isn't a talent and he doesn't deserve all the accolades and stuff like that, but it's just something to think about. If what the aim of Star Wars and Lucasfilm right now is to try and right the ship.
Yeah.
To just keep that maybe in mind one way or the other, but doesn't mean don't cast him. If he's not perfect, if he's perfect for the role and all that stuff or whatever you're doing, go for it, man. And Shawn Levy can make magic happen. So
I'll tell you what my honest belief is here. And some of you all might think I'm crazy, and maybe it is time to get into conspiracy theories here on the show. But Jesus. I think what is the one company that has been attacked by the right wing that has essentially made all these YouTube channels successful because they've attacked this one company for diversity, DEI, women-led projects? That is Disney. And what was the reaction when they announced that Daisy Ridley was coming back? A lot of the fans were happy, but there were a lot of people who weren't happy and didn't want to see her come back because they didn't like those sequel trilogies. They didn't like a female-led thing. Shawn Levy, maybe because of Disney's, maybe there's an edict here that was like, hey, look, it's a post-Trump won the election world. Let's not mess with these people. They feel really powerful. They're feeling themselves. Let's pivot to get a white male lead who is very popular and people love him, did the Ken stuff. And I think we're not going to see Daisy Ridley in this movie. The rumor was that Daisy Ridley's Rey was going to be in the Shawn Levy movie as like an older Rey or some situation there. And I think with Ryan coming in, I think you're now moving Daisy Ridley off this movie completely, and it's a completely different film.
That would be absolutely wild.
That's what my conspiracy theory is this feels to me like that's going to happen.
That would be wild. I would hate if that actually happened, man. And like, it's sad because they really got to be careful about that in the sense that I even think about how like Boyega refused to touch T'Challa because of how he was dealt with Disney with Star Wars. And I think he would have crushed that role as an heir apparent to Chadwick Boseman, man. You know, so like, you know, it'll be interesting.
I would not be surprised because I'm one of the people that broke the idea that Boyega was going to come back to Star Wars. I would not be surprised if those talks now will stop and we don't see John Boyega come back to play Finn in Star Wars, which would break my heart because I love John as an actor and I would love to see him come back and get closure like Hayden got closure. Right. And like we're going to talk about in a second, another person might be getting closure. But I would hate it if Boyega now is off the table because of Disney being like, no, we're not going to risk the ire of Trump and the MAGA people. And we're just going to focus on mostly white-led things and bring in people of color to be second, third, fourth part of the ensemble, what have you. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I would not be surprised is what I'm saying. That's all.
I get it. I think that I am not necessarily concerned of that so much. I think the bigger thing to look at would be let's watch if there's a pattern here, because the one thing we don't want to get caught in the trap of put a white dude in the thing. That they all about the whiters now. That's all that is. They just want the crackers. They are done with the Negroes and the essays. They done with that shit. They are fully on to the crackers. That's not, unless you see a situation where they're like, no, bro, they legitimately have no diverse faces around here at all. Even all the aliens look like white dudes. Like there's no Jabba. It's just like Ron Jeremy just sitting on the throne and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? If that's what ends up happening, I think that then that's a conversation to get back to. But like, but until we get there, like the rumor is still out that Samuel L. is coming back to do something with Mace. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So like that by itself
transcends. I mean, Samuel L. transcends, right?
I mean, get it, but that's still you went and revived potentially the Black Master Jedi with a purple goddamn like motherfucking purple lightsaber. Like there's a level of like, yeah, he transcends, but damn, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's because you could have revived other people. You could have been like, oh, here's a whole other extra Obi-Wan thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever, but you're considering doing this. So I think we need to look and see what the pattern is. I am always very, like, we're going to talk about a particular action that happened yesterday. And the reason why most people are very like, no, that is based off of a pattern of behavior from the individual that was doing it. It's that the actions align with how the person acts. Right. So again, if it's one movie, if it's a couple of movies, who cares? If it's like a no, we canceled all of Ahsoka. We're done with Rosario. That's out. We're done with that. That's not happening. Rey gone. Boyega gone. You know, everybody that even remotely looks like they do not come from the Caucasus Mountains. You can't even be in the Star Wars. Then we need to have a talk. But until then, white people are allowed to have movies too. That's the thing. Is that like I don't ever want people to get it twisted that just because you were wanting to have everybody be represented on screen that means that you're done with white people being on screen. That's silly. That's hella silly. And anybody that says that, that's that same problem that you see where you're just like, nah, F them all. Like that's
yeah. And look, and again, I'm not saying they're doing this.
No.
Yeah, right. Now, because I know people are going to clip this out and manipulate it, twist it, because that's what they love to do, because they got to get their money. But like the thing is that I'm saying I got no problem with it. It's the right person for the role. They make the payment, but don't be surprised if it leaks out that is one of the directives or one of the reasons they made this move. So we'll see. We'll see because I'm moving more and more into the belief that we are not going to see that Charmin Obaid-Chinoy Rey film. I've come to this. I'm slowly, step by step, moving into that belief that it is not going to happen. There's been no movement on it. They've fired so many writers. Jeff said that there's possibly an older writer they brought on to write the script. I don't know who that could be, if it's even going to happen. So don't be surprised if they kind of move into the situation like, we don't necessarily want to go this route. And I'll extend it out even further. Don't be surprised if this is what leads to Kathleen Kennedy leaving Lucasfilm. Honestly, it's very possible.
Because you know, the last thing that I'll say to also kind of say that, and this is a little different just because it's about how you make movies. Again, it's got to be a pattern. So like, people wanted to be like, yo, MCU back, No Way Home was fire. And then Quantum Mania came out. And then like, hey, yo, MCU back, bro. Guardians Galaxy 3 and fire. And then even though I liked it, the Marvels came out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need a consistency of pattern to be like, yep, nope, this is what this is now. And we're just not. And same thing with Star Wars. It was like, yo, Mandalorian popping, but Book of Boba Fett was trash. Oh, Ahsoka popping, but, you know, people really hated the Acolyte. Never watched it, can't speak on it. Like, so, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just depends. We gotta see the sum of its parts and not individual pieces.
100%. 100%. I agree with you 100%. Well, let's keep it on Star Wars. Let's move to this story here as well, Winston. This is also kind of Star Wars related. Well, it is Star Wars related, but not necessarily connected to the Ryan Gosling, Shawn Levy situation. But Christian Harloff on Monday's Christian Harloff show, which I was blessed to be the co-host on every Monday there on his channel. Christian broke the story that, according to sources that he has, Natalie Portman could be returning to the franchise to play Padme Amidala again. He said, quote, I got word that Ahsoka showrunner Dave Filoni is really trying hard to get this one character back, It looks like it's close. I don't think it's a signed deal yet, but it's close. And it looks like in Ahsoka, returning could be one Natalie Portman, saying it could happen in the world between worlds. And he said it would make sense with Ewan McGregor of it all, young Ahsoka, because he'd broken that story too, that Ewan McGregor and Ariana Greenblatt were coming back to reprise their roles. They'd probably do a world between worlds thing, and it makes sense that Filoni would want her, alluding to previous Ahsoka rumors purporting that McGregor and Ariana Greenblatt will be reprising their roles. However, Star Wars News Net came in the next day to debunk that story, or try to debunk that story, from Christian Harloff, saying that they had heard that, quote, Portman is not in negotiations to return. So this is an interesting situation because, you know, I trust my brother, but then Star Wars Newsnet also has some very strong sources in the world of Lucasfilm and Disney. So clearly either this situation was going to happen, and maybe just speaking about it, it kind of opened the door to the possibility. And maybe now that the story's out there, maybe she is now hesitant to come back because it's not a big news item. It's been broken in a way that maybe they didn't want it to be broken. Or maybe Star Wars Newsnet is correct. There was never any negotiation for Natalie Portman. What are your thoughts? Would you want to see her back? And what do you think is really happened here or going on here?
I'm not anti bringing her back. I just wish there was a way. Can we bring back Jake Lloyd and let him have some real, let him, have some redemption? I'm sure he wants nothing to do with Hollywood at all, but
right.
That would be the person I'd be more concerned about, because I don't think anybody was looking at Natalie and be like, man, she would trash. The things that they said about it at the time was, it wasn't her, it was the dialogue in those movies, especially Phantom Menace. But Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, the whole, I hate sand. It's coarse. It gets in everything. It was rough. But the irony is the actual story of the prequel is fantastic. And if anything, sometimes scarily rings way too true to a lot of things that are going on right now. But it's
good point.
It was the dialogue that was honestly the issue. I don't think anybody was ever poo-pooing their nose up at Natalie Portman, man. She crushes in pretty much everything.
Yeah.
The only time I've ever watched a Natalie Portman performance that I was like, hell no.
Yeah.
Jackie. I did not like that movie. I get people were like, man, she's acted her ass off. I was like, that accent flying in and out, bro. That's not. She sounds like me trying to be British. Like sometimes I'm spot on, and then I sound really posh, and then I sound really Cockney, and it's just like, where are you from? It'd be like someone trying to do an American accent, and you're like, hey, I'm walking over here, y'all. What? What are you doing?
Well, we do know Disney obviously has a strong relationship with her coming back in the recent Thor film and being a part of the Thor franchise. So it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. As I said on Monday, I love the idea of her coming back. I think she should get a closure situation if they can make it work organically, and if it makes sense, if they're going to use the world within worlds. Seeing her and Hayden together one more time for whatever reason, it would be nice. As older actors who've been through the wars of young acting and what have you, it'd be really interesting if you can make the story work and it makes sense and it's not just fan service. Seeing those guys together with Ewan, I think, would carry so much weight. And if you do an Ariana Greenblatt, who is now 18, so she kind of is already physically looking like young Ahsoka, like Snips, to have the four of them through in some world within worlds flashback situation, doing some live action version of a Clone Wars episode we've seen, I think would be incredible to see. But I also have to give respect to Star Wars Newsnet. I know they have very strong sources. So if they're saying that this is not true, it's a shame, because I was very much excited to see that possibility. And I think Natalie deserves it, because Natalie has spoken about how she went through a very strong mental health crisis breakdown after those movies came out, as she felt like it had really exposed her as an actress. And there was a lot of crisis of confidence there, and she went to college.
She went to Harvard. You know what I'm saying? She turned around and she took that Star Wars money and went to Harvard. I'm not going to say that she was at her Black Swan level of acting.
Oh, of course.
But again, I put that less on her as an actress. I put that more on direction and the dialogue given to her, which just in general will hamstring you. Yeah. You can only do so much depending on what you're given. Yeah. And so to that point, I get it. I saw some people in the chat being like, I was there. Her acting was not great. And I was like, I was there too. And you know what I'm saying? And it's like, again, there were far worse things about that film that I was not pressed on Natalie Portman's acting. I really wasn't. But if it's something that feels like would vindicate her, if she feels like there is something that would come out of it, I would love for her to come back, and especially since we have now done that. We have brought back pretty much everybody. You know, Hamill came back, Fisher came back, Ford came back. McGregor came back, Christensen came back, Best came back. Like, if she wants to come and do something with it, do something with it. Go for it.
Yeah, I would like to see it happen myself as well. So we'll see what the truth is, because sometimes just because someone reports something and then it's debunked immediately after, it does not mean that the person who first reported it isn't telling the truth. It may just be that they need to debunk it for now because negotiations are still going on behind the scenes, or clandestine negotiations are going on. So they don't want any of that stuff going out there. So they pump it out through their sources to say this is not happening, this is not, so that it dies down for a little bit. So when they do make the agreement and sign the contract, they can announce it on their own time and control the cycle. So we'll see, though. We'll see in the end what happens with that situation. So some big Star Wars news. Yeah.
Real quick, because I'm looking at people being like, yo, Anakin, you're breaking my heart wasn't exactly great, or great actors elevate the material. I would love for people to point out to me what fantastic acting was happening in the prequel trilogies. Not like, don't put all that on her. I want you to point out somebody that was top to bottom crushing that shit. And I stand by what I said. It's a mix of direction and dialogue that just really hurt a lot of what was going on in those prequel trilogies. And there were moments that worked, but like, you genuinely, and that's even the harder part, you can have a kid that has hella talent, but if they're not being directed properly, it's just not going to balance itself out. Because if I remember correctly, pretty soon after or right before you would know Mr. Schmodown Champion, V for Vendetta was hovering around that time too, and she was fantastic in that. She was already proving that she had the chops. It's just the projects were not as, again, story-wise, incredibly well written. But day in, day out, we talking.
I think only Watto really was the good performance in that whole thing. Honey! I think only Watto.
Watto. That's. For some people said Yoda, bro. Puppet and CGI, miss me. And then someone else said Palpatine. That's about it. Because like Samuel just plays Samuel. He wasn't actually Mace Windu, and he was like, I don't understand why these motherfucking Sith are in my motherfucking galaxy. Like, it's not.
I will say, when he gets, it's not good. It's not believable. It's not a strong acting performance when Anakin takes him out. I agree with that. And yeah, look, Hayden was not the best in that prequel series, and certainly him coming prequel films. Him coming back into the Ahsoka series, that was great. You got to see Hayden, I think, much more than the Obi-Wan series. You got to see Hayden really have some sweet moments with Ariana Greenblatt and with Ahsoka, with Rosario Dawson. So I thought all of that was a really great way of like reminding people that this guy could act, and had his issues with what happened and what have you. So yeah, I think it would be nice to see him and Natalie come back, but we'll see down the road what happens with that. All right. And just a reminder, we have 250 of you watching us right now. Thank you so much. Winston, promote what you want to promote, brother. Where can people go find your stuff? We're not done. We're just at the halfway point. So please let people know where they can find your stuff, my friend.
Absolutely. You can find me at the Swaggy Blurred on all platforms, man, but especially here on YouTube. Got a Blurred breakdown for you tomorrow. That show has kind of become more of a live stream than anything else. I do apologize for not getting one to you yesterday. I was going to try and pre-tape like I normally was doing beforehand. I ended up in a situation where, because I am now starting to do reactions, I was talking to a producer engineer because I was having issues, and I ended up on the phone with him so long. By the time I looked up, I was like, shit, and I just didn't have enough time to finish the video. So I do apologize for that. So we will have a live stream tomorrow. You'll see me on Capes and Cows over on Christian's channel. And then yeah, man, I'm really excited about the reactions. I will kind of announce once I've got a few like taped, I'll kind of announce what's coming out with stuff. But I've got a game plan here of what we're gonna follow. I was gonna try and do Daredevil. It was too much time because I'm a one-man team. Like, I will do Daredevil as it drops in March, but I was gonna try and power through 3 seasons of Daredevil.
Oh wow!
And I can't. If I had editors, that would be different.
Right.
But it's all me. So there's not enough time in the day for me to watch 36 episodes, an hour a piece, and edit all of them. So we're gonna stick to that when we get there. But for now, to come check me out on the channel, man. We're growing steadily, and I really appreciate everybody that's coming through.
That's awesome. Baby, I got to break up with you for 3 months. I got to do these Daredevil things. Yeah, send in your Streamlabs and Super Chats here as we're going through. We got 250 of you. Come on, send in your love here. Only 2 Super Chats? Come on, people. Send in your love. We're having fun talking about this stuff. Send in your support. Send in your love, questions, thoughts, and comments. Send in your Streamlabs as well. I know we got 3 or 4 of those in there. Send in your love here as we go along. Let's move into the harder aspects of our show here, Winston. This dude was inaugurated yesterday. Very small, what can you say? Very small gathering of people. They claimed that it was because it was too cold outside that they couldn't have people come to the inauguration. The speech was, for the most part, very, how can I say this? Not unity. It was not very much about unity. Still the grudges, still making the comments there in front of, as you see, outgoing President Biden, outgoing Vice President Kamala Harris. The Clintons were there as well. And you see J.D. Vance there and his son there. And even Vivek got an invitation all the way in the back there. So you see that it was very much a part of this thing. Yeah, and before he got fired from Doge, yeah, exactly. But like it was an interesting. But then right afterwards, he signed a bunch of executive orders here that we're going to go through and take a look at, and then we'll see what our thoughts on all this stuff is. And certainly, it was swift movement from him right after he signed those. Right after he was inaugurated, right into the executive orders, including pardoning 1,500 January 6th defendants. They were all pardoned. Even the ones who committed violent crimes, they were all pardoned, including Enrique Tarrio, who was the former head of the far-right Proud Boys, who had been sentenced to 22 years in federal prison. He received a pardon. Trump commuted the sentences of 14 people, including Stuart Rhodes, who is part of the far-right Oath Keepers group. He also directed the Justice Department to dismiss pending cases that stem from the attack on the Capitol. Him and TikTok colluded to put a whole stunt about banning TikTok and then bringing it back, which was super ridiculous. He undid 78 executive actions from Biden and orders and presidential memoranda, including stuff to do with racial equality, climate, migration, and gender policy, the federal workforce. He the taking Cuba off the list of state-sponsored terrorisms. He also ordered an executive order that directs the head of all executive departments and agencies to deliver emergency price relief consistent with applicable law. That's more ceremony. Nothing's going to happen off of that. And he said he would help defeat inflation and bring down the cost of daily life. He also signed executive orders with immigration, making sweeping changes to immigration and border security. He declared a national emergency at the border, clarifying the military's order is going to change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. It designated criminal cartels as terrorists, suspended refugee resettlements, ended birth, and he wants to end birthright citizenship, which means if you're born in this country to illegal parents, you do not get to be an American citizen, and you get sent back with your parents to the country of their origin going forward. That's what he wants, not in retroactive, but going forward. 22 states have already protested that and filed lawsuits against that. Enhanced vetting and screening, restoring the death penalty, putting away the weapons together, federal workforce, and withdrew us from the Paris Climate Accord. And removed us from the World Health Organization as well. So a lot there, Winston, to look at. So, man, what an insane amount of the thing you have to say, and you really do have to say this. He moved quickly, whereas in the past, in the previous administration, his people were like, "Well, you can't do that. You got to take it slow. You got to go through the process." It's clear that he doesn't want to deal with any of this stuff anymore, and the steps he's just going to go forward and go to court if he has to go to court to fight all these things. He's got a conservative Supreme Court that might rubber stamp a lot of these decisions, and he certainly has a Republican Party that is going to fall in line behind him. But certainly there are challenges coming to all this stuff. So what's your reaction to all this? What are your feelings on all this? What do you think here?
Anybody that said Project 2025 was fake and it was just a liberal talking point can suck the entire part of I'm not going to say it because I don't want to demonetize John's video, but what I was about to say. The writing was on the wall.
Yep.
You could see who he was staffing up. Part of the whole Project 2025 was yes men only. There are no dissenters. People wanted to get mad at Biden at the end there because he started pardoning random people. Where it's like, why are you doing it? It just looks like you're making it. Trump called these people out by name and said, I will be coming for you.
Yeah.
So I do not blame him for doing that as just a protection, whether they needed it or not. It's like, it's that whole idea of like, hey, yo, you live completely isolated where nobody's within hundreds of miles for you. I'm still going to put a fucking Ring camera up because what if somebody shows up at my motherfucking house? I want some evidence or I want to know what, like that was just a preemptive stuff. But as far as all this stuff goes, I don't know who's surprised. He said this over and over again, exactly what he was going to do.
Yes.
And he has already done it. Made declarations that from now on, the United States only recognizes man and woman as the only gender. Like just popping off at the mouth. Left and right, signing shit left and right, like an asshat. I think the one, they all piss me off equally, but I think the one that sticks out the most, and this is going to sound weird, but it's mainly because it is all fucking ego.
Yeah.
It is all ego, because all the rest of them, you could look at it and go, fuck you for that. But at least I know he's doing it because he's, it's going to help my billionaire friends, whatever. And I hate him for that, right? It's the half-mast shit.
Oh, yes.
You will not fly the flag at half-mast during Inauguration Day. Bitch, that is literally because another president died.
Yep.
That is fully out of a sign of respect for other people, which is why we'll get to Nelly and Snoop in a minute. Nelly being like, you got to have respect for the office, man. This nigga doesn't have respect for the office. He literally put that in because his ego was upset that it would be at half-mast, which they do for 30 days for a literal other president of the United States dying. Yeah. It sounds so weird. It sounds so weird that would be the one that makes me the angriest, but I guess it's because it's for literally nothing but to appease him.
Yeah.
It is literally just to appease him. There is all that other shit is nefarious. But you see the steps where it goes, and I'm mad about it, and we got to push back about it.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show that he does not care about anybody but himself.
Yeah.
And I know people are going to look at me like, why are you mad about that? But that's because we are literally watching somebody who decided they want to be king, and one of the first things kings tend to do, nobody looks me in the eyes. Right. That's where it fucking starts. You know what I'm saying? That's literally where it starts. Let alone, I think the other thing that pisses me off, the second thing that pisses me off the most, and there was a warning about this for anybody that watches Last Week Tonight with John Oliver.
Oh, yeah.
This fucking Trump meme coin.
Oh, yeah.
He has been set up with this team for a while, this company, and he set it up, and they were talking about this happening. It should be a massive conflict of interest, but it's not. He made this motherfucking Trump coin and has launched himself hundreds of places up on the billionaires list because people genuinely went out and put their savings into it like they do every other stupid thing he fucking releases. And it went from like, at one point it was at 40, then it went up to 70 or whatever it is. He has made billions.
Yep.
So fast. And the other thing that is a problem, we need to get money out of what politicians are able to do. That is literally one of the things that we talk about all the time, where you get mad at the left and the right, where it's like, oh, they knew that this COVID thing was kind of serious. So all of a sudden, all of these senators went and bought stock in all these various pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah.
That's that type of shit that is so like, fuck you. You were literally screwing us over. So like that should be a conflict of interest that isn't. But so those were the two things, is that the more he helps his billionaire buddies, I hate that, and it pisses me off. The more he helps these white supremacists, it's scary and it pisses me off. But the more he just lets his ego get built up and more and make himself an actual king or an emperor, those are the ones that upset me, because he's testing waters to see how much of this bullshit he can get away with. It will get worse.
Yeah.
And then there will be a situation of you don't ever look at the emperor. You keep your eyes to the ground. That's the weird part that I'm talking about, and that is why it uniquely pisses me off.
Yeah, I hear you on the half-mast thing, because I think that's symbolic, and so I think So I think the guy Brooklyn in here was asking, that's a weird thing to be upset about, which is, of course, why are you judging? There's a million things that you get upset about Brooklyn that are super weird. We all have the things that bother us, right? And I think you made a great point of explaining why that bothers you, because it's symbolic that it's about him, not about America. And that's really the truth of the matter. It's not America first, it's him first, then America. That's what you see clearly. And the fact that he has a Speaker of the House who was in lockstep with him about raising the flags for that day, because in their minds, they didn't want the perception that, the flag was at half-mast when he was inaugurated, because people were going to make memes out of it and make fun of him. And so he's that sensitive to something like this, that instead of honoring Jimmy Carter, who, by the way, he was at Jimmy Carter's funeral with his wife, who held the program upside down. He was at the funeral, but even he couldn't muster the respect for the situation to be okay with the flag at half-mast. These are these little things that show you who a person is, right? And I think that's what's frustrating on so many levels when you look at these situations. Look, he's the president. He won the election fair and square. Although, him admitting about Elon and the voting computers in Pennsylvania, I'm going to let whatever that is, someone's trying to figure that out.
Because I'm right there with you. And again, I see a couple of people that going back to why it upsets me so much. Yeah, I'm used to what he's going to do. Right. There's already talks that the Muslim ban is coming back momentarily. Yeah. That's going to be back in a couple of days. You know what? Right. He told us what he was going to do with trans folks. So why am I surprised by any of this? 100%. He told us what he was doing with deportation. I've already been angry about that. Right. There is something about, because the last little bit that gets me, that the third one that pisses me off above all else, is how this whole TikTok thing went down. This weird way of clear, and Gaza, honestly, because it's clear that him and Bibi were talking behind the scenes the whole fucking time. So you take the ceasefire now, as he's walking in to say, look at what he did. He said, it's about to get real bad. And so then all of a sudden now they want to call a ceasefire. And it's TikTok's going there. Because remember, he instigated TikTok being banned back when he was president, and then he changed his mind because it helped him get elected, and he clearly had some sort of conversation because the CEO of TikTok was fucking there, and they had a whole goddamn inauguration party that would step and repeat, and bartenders and DJs and all that shit. You don't plan that in 24 fucking hours. So all of that happens, then you go, thanks to President Trump, all of a sudden, TikTok is saved. But then you go on there and there are things you can't even look up anymore that are fucking banned. Those are the things that I'm talking about, where we're looking at the emperor setting up his throne room. Yeah. That is what is happening. And that is why it uniquely pisses me off, because he is making himself out to be exactly what he said he wants to be. The fucking king. He said it before. You vote for me now, Christians. You won't ever have to vote for me again. It'll be the last time. Why? Because he's making sure people understand he's in charge, period.
Well, I mean, I think what is really fascinating is that the numbers came out today for his inauguration, and the views were, it tanked. It's 20% less than that people who viewed Biden's election and people who viewed his election back in 2006. So the fact that he's doing worse viewership-wise in 2025 rather, than he did 8 years ago, and then Biden did 4 years ago, there's a commentary there that I think already people are starting to sense that there was a mistake made here, and that a lot of people aren't necessarily respecting the fact that he is president. So I think there's going to be a strong pushback. I think there are going to be people who are going to step up and corral these situations, going to court, fight these things tooth and nail. This is the thing. I know a lot of people unplugged after the election and they were disheartened by what the country voted for. Remember that a lot of people sat at home and didn't vote, and so you could be upset about that. Who knows how the numbers would have been if a majority of Americans had voted for in the presidential election? Who knows what it would have been? Sorry, if 80 to 90% voted is what I'm trying to say. Who knows what it would have been? But it's not the end, and I think that's what people need to dial back in and plug back in. Is you got to keep fighting. just because you lost in the first half doesn't mean you can't come back and win in the second half. The game is still going. And so
I get it, man. But
if we don't plug it back in, Winston, they're going to run roughshod over here.
I don't disagree with you. And it was one of the things that I was saying when this all went down. But at the same time, it feels like I don't watch college football, but this is overtime number 10. And how many times do I have to throw this fucking 30-yard touchdown right now and keep it going? I don't blame people for being like, I am gassed. I am fully gassed. And I thought we were over this. And yet we're back here and they're stronger than they were. Somehow the entire team got subbed out and they've got fresh legs. How? Like, that's the thing that's so fucking exhausting about it all. And especially because they got organized this time. And so then when you throw in the fact that, again, I'm thinking about how one of the executive orders that already went through is him already reversing Biden putting up stuff to protect for prescription costs.
Yeah,
he put that in place so that insulin couldn't be overinflated. So all of these cancer drugs, dialysis drugs cannot be overinflated and charge out the ass for shit. Yeah. And he fully reversed that. So now people are in the same way that Luigi came out in these streets because United Healthcare and all these insurance companies weren't taking care of people. You have now set that back up where people with diabetes are not going to be able to get the fucking insulin they need to survive. Yeah. Like that is what is so fucking nuts about this. But again, that was in my general, I'm already mad. Like if you go into a ring and you're about to box, you're like, I already know his left hook will kill me. Right. The left hook has been thrown. It's like it's what's pissing me off is while throwing the left hook, now he's dancing over here like, yeah, bitch, what you gonna do about it? That's kind of what I mean. I think that's the part where it's not the dunk that pisses you off. It's the afterwards, like, yeah, motherfucker. That is where this new rage is coming from. Because it's not just the damage that's being done, it's the taunting that's happening while it's going on.
Yeah, and here's the thing, man. The economy, you look at the numbers of the economy, it is, there's a lot that Biden did that saved the economy from what Trump left it in 2020. And of course, they didn't do a good job of really showcasing that. And to be honest with you, they didn't do a good job of speaking to people who are suffering through this economy. I think that's one of the big mistakes that Biden did and Kamala did. They didn't speak too deeply or strongly enough to the people who were suffering, because the numbers are saying the economy is better, but you can tell that on the ground floor, a lot of people don't feel this way. And I feel like if there should have been investigations into who was price gouging, what companies were raising prices and keeping them there where they didn't need to be because they were trying to benefit. Looking at you, Amazon and Bezos becoming a trillionaire during COVID. How does this stuff happen without the government taking a look at this stuff and assessing it? And the truth is, the Democrats need to stop being afraid of crossing lines, breaking rules, walking, because clearly the GOP as it's constructed could care less about rules and whatever. They're going to do whatever they want to do. So we've got to do whatever we want to do as well, but for the good of the country. There's the difference, right? And we don't want to be catered to billionaires, or we don't want to be subservient to billionaires. So we need to create a system, and we need to push these systems to make them work for a majority of people. Because we are still living under the Trump tax cuts. A lot of people think we're living under Biden's economy, and that's what. No, we're still living under the Trump tax cuts, I think, till June of this year. And then the Biden tax cuts will kick in. And of course, that's all going to maybe cause the economy to flourish. And people who don't do research, who don't analyze things, who don't look at all this stuff, are going to be like, oh, well, see, we're doing so much better under Trump. And so that's going to be a situation they've got to combat the Democrats somehow. And there's midterm elections in 2 years, which means campaigns for midterms starts in a year. So you've got to kind of put those things in motion. I love that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is coming out even more strongly to help. She's on IG Live. She's talking to people who voted for Trump, but didn't vote for, but voted for Democrats. So down the other section of the ticket. So there's things that are happening here, and we need to fight back, and we need to create situations where this can be pushed back against. And I know it seems overwhelming and it seems difficult, but God damn it, we're America. We're Americans. The last time I checked, we fight for freedom. We fight for our liberty. We fight for our independence. We fight for the things that are right in this country. And so last I checked, that's still the American spirit, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or in the middle somewhere or way out in the far reaches, you're still an American. And the foundational truth of Americans is that we fight against tyranny. We fight against people who want to be tyrants. And I think that's the energy that needs to come back for a lot of people. And I understand it's not easy.
I get it, man. But I know that if I remember correctly, one of your favorite movies is Gladiator, is it not?
Yes, I do love Gladiator. Yeah.
So you remember in our final part of Act 3 where the Emperor comes in and stabs the shit out of him before the fight, and then he's got to try and turn around and go actually like fight him. Now, mind you, we did it because storytelling. But if we're being honest, most people, when they get stabbed before a life or death fight like that, you're bleeding out. And that you can try and find the will to live one way or the other, but like that is kind of what's happening right now.
Yeah.
We got stabbed before the big fight. And so now it's kind of like, damn, okay, I'm pushing here, but I don't know if and so I'm not saying that people are going to give up. I'm not telling people to give up. I'm telling people to push back and to fight and to rally and lean on each other and whatnot. I'm just saying, like, I don't blame anybody that's genuinely fucking tired right now. And it's just been like, I have to make it through the week. Because they already knew the shit was coming. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing. And for those that didn't, when they wake up and realize, then they go, oh shit. You gotta hope that at that point shit isn't too fucking crazy, man. But I hear you. And as a black man, I know, brother, no other people in this country carries the weight of this country and the history of what this country has done to black people more than black people nowadays who see it, right? And it's even probably more debilitating when you see black people who are willing to prop this kind of tyranny up, or this kind of dictator-like approach up, like when they go and be a part of him and vote for him and promote him, and he gives none of them jobs in his administration. Byron Donalds, how's your daddy treating you? Called him your daddy the other day. How is he treating you? You don't even have a job in the administration, right? These little things. He was like, Ben Carson, where is it? Like, it's all these things, Every one of those black dudes that caped for him, not a single fucking one of them got a single position. Not even like head of the fucking tours at the White House. None of these motherfuckers got a single. You caped for this bitch, and he didn't do a fucking thing for you. And that's what's crazy. Vivek. Okay,
Vivek got
we're gonna put you co-head of Doge. Kicked his bitch ass out before we even got started.
He's brown adjacent, or black adjacent, so they had to kick him out. Yeah.
So the thing that's really interesting about the economy, because people love to bring that up one way or the other and be like the economy, like, because my baby bit of pushback about how good the economy is doing. By the numbers, sure, the economy is doing well, but it's doing well for people that are able to invest. It's doing well for people that have excess money that it's in the stock market or whatever the fuck else. And I already kind of knew this, but I think the person that really drilled this home for me, and it was his wake-up call because he was confused as to how this election went the way that it did, was my dad, who has done pretty well for himself in life. And he was like, nah, the numbers, it doesn't add up. But then he was talking to an employee, and he pays his employees very well, all things considered, like very far above minimum wage for the entry-level jobs and great benefits and all that. But he had one of his employees come and ask him for some sort of like advance, and he was like, wait, really? Okay, yeah, whatever you need. And she was just explaining, like, no, a dozen eggs right now is $12. I can't, like, people keep joking about you voted for the price of eggs one way or the other, but that is the real thing that is going on, that people are just like, the incumbent is always going to be in trouble if a war is getting out of control, or if the economy is not well. So by the numbers on paper, the economy is well, but that's all those rich fucks that are doing well. And anybody that maybe has some excess money to play in that realm. Everyday Joe Blow, you're getting turned down for your insurance, or your fire insurance is getting thrown out, or your hurricane insurance is getting thrown out. You can't afford groceries. You can't afford gas. And so he is very good at convincing people, because he's a con man. He is very good at convincing people that he will do what needs to be done to help them. But then does the same thing he always does: hire these contractors and then not pay, or you know what I'm saying, or get everybody to go to Coachella and set that whole event up to come do a rally out here in California, and not pay the bill for the buses. So then people are stranded, and we laugh in the moment of like, look at MAGA, haha, you fell for it again. But what's funny is those people only remember that temporarily, and he does a very good job of passing the buck always.
Right.
The one thing I have to give him credit for, and this is, I hate giving him credit for anything. He is so masterful at putting on a show, whether it's saying things that are so stupid that you laugh him off as an idiot,
right,
or gets you so riled up that you're going for, like, you know what I'm saying? He is so good at putting on the show that then when he screws you over, you're confused. And the people that weren't getting screwed and see it go, how the fuck did you fall for that? And the ones that didn't go, huh? And then he somehow convinces you the ones laughing at you are the ones that did it to you.
Yeah.
He has mastered sleight of hand. And that is literally why he's back. It's awful, but here we are.
Just look at the Gaza situation. It's very clear that they could have done a ceasefire a long time ago, and that Netanyahu did not want to do it. This is my opinion. That Netanyahu did not want to do it because he wanted to help Trump get back in office, because he is an oligarch, just like he is a wannabe dictator. And certainly what he did in Israel is, you can study that about how he tried to get away from the law having any kind of judgment on him and what have you. And suddenly the ceasefire is settled like a day or two before Trump comes in office, and Trump's people trying to claim credit for it as if it was a simple thing to do and Biden was dragging his feet. That's not what happened.
When you consider all the
Israel waited to agree, what I think is Israel waited to agree until, or Netanyahu actually waited to agree until it was right before Trump coming off, so he could take some kind of credit for it. So I mean, all a setup.
When you consider that a lot of the terms that were in the ceasefire haven't changed all that much since the one that was offered on October 9th, 2 days after that horrible attack on the 7th.
Yeah.
And they have literally been turning it down, go, turn it down, turn it down, turn it down. And then when it finally goes a couple of days ago, he gets to say, look what I did because I made whatever said threat. And in the same breath go, that's some really nice property out there. Guys, is really like, it's all at the sea. You know, it'd be really great land. Like,
he's talking like a developer. Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so it's
100%.
like, so that's the part that I think is just crazy to me. I'm not. Yeah, don't piss on me and tell me it's raining.
And some people are like saying, like, you know, well, he gets all the credit. Fine. Let's say you're one of those people. I see Brooklyn going crazy about it. I totally get it. You want to give him credit. That's your right. You want to give him credit. Fine. But then when he was asked about the ceasefire, will it last? Part of that quote that you're saying, Winston, he said, no, I don't see it lasting more than 2 weeks, possibly. So this thing that you want to give him
supposed to last for years so they can rebuild.
Yeah, this thing you say you want to give him credit for, that he stopped the war and he did the ceasefire, he doesn't even believe in the ceasefire. It's going to last more than 2 weeks. So what are you giving him credit for if even he, who is supposedly the architect, this mastermind of it, doesn't believe in it himself? So these are the things you got to think a little bit more. It's not a matter of winning the argument. It's a matter of having legitimate information, putting it all in context, understanding what it means, and coming to a logical conclusion. And I think what he's done, the other thing that he's masterful at, is that he has people who are willing to come to the wrong conclusion because it serves their interests to come to the wrong conclusion. And that's unfortunate, because this is the situation we're in now because of the constant changing of positions, the flip-flopping, the change, saying one thing and or doing the other. And as you said, against TikTok in 2020, where do I have it? Yeah, let me just bring that up real quick, because I know I want to make sure these are legitimately 2020. He's banning TikTok. We're banning them from the United States. I don't want TikTok anyway. Trump declares war on TikTok from Air Force One. Trump says he'll ban TikTok. Trump says he'll act to ban TikTok. He'll ban TikTok. What happens? TikTok gets banned because Joe Biden won't enforce any of the penalties on the companies. And then the next day they're like, oh, thank President Trump for bringing it back. It's all a setup. And now he wants 50% of TikTok. And that essentially, if that does happen under his watch, that's essentially turning TikTok into a state-run service for propaganda that is only approved by Trump and the MAGA and GOP. And you won't see people on there, or people who are on there to protest Trump or protest any of these decisions are going to be buried or silenced or have their accounts killed. I mean, Elon is already doing that on Twitter with a lot of accounts who come after him or come after Trump. So it would happen on TikTok as well. And there's the thing where you got put it in context. It's not the right thing to do.
I'll just put it to you this way, man, and then we can move on to the next subject because we got stuff still within this realm we got to talk about.
We do.
The best way to describe what Trump did with TikTok and with Gaza, we've seen this plot before.
Yeah.
This is syndrome from The Incredibles. If I go make a supervillain show up, I'm the hero that comes and saves you.
Right.
He set up this omnibot to show up to take TikTok, but then he's the one that I went in and I negotiated, and I told China, you gonna sell that shit? And then they said, bro, damn, you right, Daddy Trump. Thank you for that. You right. Go ahead. I was the one that said, you're gonna stop that war. You're gonna stop it. And then the next thing you know, they stopped that war. But that's because he was over here telling me, go, go until I get elected. Just go. Go. And then we'll stop it. And then, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what? So anyway, that's it. He is fully syndrome at this point. And all I can hope is that he ends, well, not really. Here's the fucked up part about it. For the sake of, if he does really fail, if he truly fails, we all suffer as a byproduct of this. So I don't wish for him to fail. Right. But I also need people to stop kissing his boot so much that you're not aware of where he is actually screwing us over. And as Chappelle said at the end of his monologue on SNL this past weekend, he said, bro, this is your second chance. There are a lot of people that did not vote for you and do not believe in you, but they are counting on you.
Yeah.
So do better. And that is where I'm at this point. As much as it would begrudge me to be like, damn, he actually did a good fucking job if he did it. If he actually did that and was genuinely taking care of everybody and not just his personal interests, then what am I going to do? You know what I'm saying? But he has not proven to me that is what he's doing at this point still. Right. So no, I'm going to call a spade, man.
None of his actions, even today, firing all the top Department of Justice officials, that tells you putting in Kash Patel is what he's trying to do in this situation. Like, that's vengeance, and that is not going to help the country. And by the way, it's fabricated vengeance. He legitimately did these things that are terrible, but he wants to keep pushing the narrative that he didn't do anything wrong. And so, what better way to do that than to have people that he hires into positions of power who are going to actually abuse power? Because a lot of MAGA is projection. They thought Biden was abusing power. If Biden wanted Trump gone, he'd have gotten him Trump gone within a year. Like, it wouldn't have even been an issue. And he certainly wouldn't have hired the turtle Merrick Garland, who moves slower than molasses, which is why we're in this position we're in now. So these are these things, like I said, you got to put it in context. You got to think logically about the situation. If Biden wanted to put his finger on the scale, he could have put his finger on the scale, but he clearly didn't. It's like these people that say, oh, the election was fixed. You voted on the same ballot. How was your Trump vote taken away, but your other votes for the Republicans? It's just this kind of like really scattershot logic that makes no sense, that they want to believe in, and will not take any challenge to the logic because they get offended. That's the narrow-minded point of view that Brooklyn keeps talking about, not the thing that he thinks it makes him a more wide open person for these things. But let's move on. One more difficult thing here. We got to talk about this, Winston. This happened yesterday as well, here at the in one of the speeches that Elon Musk was giving, and a lot of people, including me, felt this was very clearly a Nazi salute that he did twice. Take a look at this. Look at it. I mean, just look at this situation here.
Are you playing
literally the same movements?
Wait, you didn't play it. It's still the full photo.
Oh, sorry about that. Let me take that down. Here we go. So let's take a look at this, and you tell me if really we're making this up out of thin air. I mean, that's literally the same movement that you see in that is essentially a Nazi salute. I saw a lot of people try to take stills of Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton, I think Elizabeth Warren putting their hands.
When you watch them
when you
do
watch
it,
the videos,
it is. I am here talking about, you know, this and then this and this and then this, and so when you do it like this, but you're making a point, you could try it, but they didn't go and then la like that. That is completely different. That is completely different, man.
Yeah. And when you're watching, and by the way, he did it twice. And he was like, you know, he was leaning in, he put some stank on that. He was legitimately very clearly doing that. Now, I saw a lot of people try to claim autism, and then other people who have autism all over social media were like, no, we have autism. We don't reflexively do Nazi salutes with autism. People who scholars, professors, people much more intelligent than probably 95% of the world chimed in and said, we have studied Nazi ideals, studied all this stuff, and are aware historically, and he was absolutely doing a Nazi salute.
You know what it reminds me of, Rocha?
Yeah.
It's whenever you end up with somebody that just like the N-word just rolls off their tongue when they're angry, and they go, I don't ever do that, when it's like,
that's not me.
Unless you literally, it's in your body where you're doing this.
Yeah.
That means what you're doing is you don't say it in public, but when you're sitting with your friends or your family, you'll be like, and these damn niggas. But you don't ever say it in public. And the one time you got mad, it slipped. So if it was one of two things. Either he did it intentionally, or if it was an awkward moment, that means he, in some form or fashion, did something like that at another point in time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like,
no, I agree. 100%.
That argument doesn't even fucking fly, because there's never been a point in time where I've thought to myself, you know what? I love you guys. That has never, ever, ever, ever happened for me, ever. So that's fucking nuts to me. That is nuts, that then you have things like the ADL trying to defend it and be like, no, he was just being awkward.
Here's the statement. This is a delicate moment. It's a new day, yet so many are on edge. Our politics are inflamed, and social media only adds to the anxiety. It seems that Elon Musk made an awkward gesture. These are, what do they call that? Sane washing stuff. In a moment of enthusiasm, not a Nazi salute, but again, we appreciate that people are on edge. In this moment, all sides should give one another a bit of grace, perhaps even the benefit of the doubt, and take a breath. This is a new beginning. Let's hope for healing and work toward unity in the months and years ahead. Nothing tells me that they are invested or getting paid off than a statement like this. The Anti-Defamation League should 100% be much more aware of what this is doing and what this means. And clearly they're invested. They have a political interest to come in on the side of Elon Musk on this and to defend this action as a, quote, awkward gesture. And that is so unfortunate, man, because we're never going to get anywhere if we don't call, as you said earlier, Winston, a spade a spade. It is very clear what he was doing. I just had to block an old Schmodown fan of mine, a friend of mine. I've been on shows. Well, I wouldn't say friend, but associate. I've been on shows with this guy. I've talked with this guy before. And he was so upset that I would even deign to think that this is a real thing. And he insulted me and brought up something from way in the past. And I had to block him. And I think this is insane that people don't want to create the possibility that this could have been this, and explore it and leave open the possibility that it might have been him, because Musk is cocky. Musk is arrogant. Musk is rich, and he has no parameters on him, no guardrails on him. And he will do whatever the hell he wants to do, because who the hell is going to hold him to task over it? Nobody. The board gives him money, millions. Trump supports him. The MAGA people support him. No one's going to touch Elon Musk, so he feels he can do whatever he wants to do.
I think that the way that there's no way to defend this, you could have the minorest bit of an argument if he did it the one time, and then that was like he was just making an awkward, he turned around and he didn't go like this. He put his hand to his chest again and did it again.
Yes.
That is where you lose me with that shit, because it wasn't even immediately afterwards. It was, he took enough time to process his thoughts for a second and do it again. There it is the first time, biting his lip while he does it. Time to turn around. Like,
You're seeing it. It's very clear.
For making it happen.
Right? You're seeing it. Now, I get it. People are like, oh, he was thanking his supporters. He was saying it from the heart. But no, what you did is very clear. He's not a stupid man. He knows exactly who he was signaling. He knows, and the fact that, and Chris Murphy, the Democrat senator of Vermont, who was questioning Elise Stefanik today in Congress, he asked Elise, listen, Congresswoman Elise, listen, this stuff is being supported by all these right-wingers, white supremacists who are coming out and saying that they are happy he did it. They are saying these people who would want to cover for him are saying that Elon Musk did the Nazi salute. Right-wingers, white supremacists, Nazi people are saying he absolutely did the Nazi salute and we love him for it. So what's the truth, right? And so this is the thing where you look at it. Of course, she wouldn't answer it because, of course, she's not. Trump won't let her answer that. So this situation here, you look at it and you're just like, yeah, this is the problem. This isn't like the dress is is gold and white or black and red. This is like legitimately a dangerous thing. And
before he did it,
right Germany party, which is as close to Nazi.
I can't even find it anymore. But before he did it, do you remember that there was a meme going around about him sitting next to, I guess that's Barron or whatever, and it's when the edible hits, but you forgot you were going to like a serious like gathering or some shit like that because he's sitting there, and all of a sudden he's just. And I was like, I know that look. Okay, clearly your shit started hitting in the middle of the ceremony, bro. Like,
yeah, and that's I don't know, and that's the frustrating part because even the people on the right are not willing to be like, hey, man, I shouldn't have done that. He did that. That's not something we support. We don't like it. We're not. No, he didn't do it. He absolutely didn't do that. He was thanking his people. Everybody does that, and so it's just like. This is the thing. And of course, and this is bad faith, right? This is the thing that frustrates me because Brooklyn has been in the chat. He is a bad faith person. He's saying it's going to be like this for the rest of the time. One team way up, one team way down, 4 years later, flip over. And this is the thing. So people like this are never going to hear logic. They're only ever going to believe one thing about the situation. And that is, no, it's the same thing, different people. There's no way to see one way or the other, but he has been defending the right the whole time throughout our entire chat. And so clearly you're claiming that you don't like the tribalism, yet you're being a part of the tribalism yourself. So it's these things that we're trying to find the middle ground. And I'm with you, man. I as much as I may hate that he's in power and that he has all the people like bending the knee to him, which is something that they didn't do in 2016. And there were guardrails and there were level-headed Republicans in his administration who tried to stop him. There's none of that now. But I hope what he does help the country overall. Because people need to be helped. If it becomes a dictatorial state and we're seeing camps of immigrants, and I don't mean at detention centers, I mean concentration camps. If we start to see stuff like that, and for those of you who are like, oh, you're being dramatic. Tell me that I'm being dramatic when you've seen what he's done already. So the thing is, those are the things that I fear. Those kinds of things. If we start having re-education camps, if we start seeing the press getting arrested, because we want to see the press scared. The press is already scared. CNN wants to remove Jim Acosta because he's a strong critic of Trump. That's the press bending the knee. Jeff Bezos bends the knee. All these people bend the knee. Then where are we going to go? And I think that's the thing that scares me the most. So maybe his policies will work for a lot of people, but the way he's doing it is not the way America should be run.
Wasting time on renaming the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah.
Who the fuck cares? On top of the fact that the rest of the world does not acknowledge it that way. So it's its own level of fight that you end up having for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
But like, do you understand, even by the nature of if he really does that, and like he's already pushed his executive order, but if he really pushes this shit with some sort of stupid ass law, do you understand the amount of money we have to waste to essentially pull all the maps in schools, all the atlases, all the literally we have to reprint all of that shit for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
Those are minor things that happen in that regard. Like, that's what I'm saying. For someone that claims that they're I'm trying to reduce spending, I'm trying to get the budget under control, you're wasting fucking money.
Yeah.
And that is the part that I think is just so wild to me.
Yeah.
Like, he is showing you what his master plan is. Cause like, I'm trying to think, there was something that happened, oh God, when he was in office that he actually did that I was like, I don't like to admit what he did, but I openly admitted that was actually the right move at that particular moment. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, because so much negative shit happens with him that it overwashes the good shit. But like, I have always been that person that I may feel some type of way about how something goes down, but I'll be a realist about it. So one of the things that I actually got educated on by a buddy of mine who was furious that Roe got overturned, but he explained to me how the way that Roe was essentially set up, it should have been codified a long time ago. People kept saying, it's fine. It's fine. But even Ruth Bader Ginsburg was out here being like, this is kind of shaky.
Yeah.
And if it ever gets overturned at some point, it'll be because nobody over here and puts a law into place. And so once I learned, I can go and talk to my buddy if y'all want to hear about it later and give you the exact reason of how he explained it. But once he kind of broke it down, I was like, fuck, I hate that Roe was overturned, but legally that makes sense about why this was a bad argument to stand on. So the real thing to be angry about is that it was not then treated seriously and codified. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I can openly admit, that was a bad ruling, but at the same time be like, I hate what that fucking means. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is where I need people to be able to like see the forest from the fucking trees.
Yeah. I agree. 100%. 100% agree. All right, let's move on to something a little more lighthearted, maybe. What are your thoughts on Snoop and Nelly, and is it Rick Ross as well? Are these people performing at the Trump's inaugural ball? Because I mean, Snoop has been calling Trump supporters every name in the book, even back in 2016, scoffed at the fact that Trump couldn't get hardly anybody to perform at his inaugural ball. But here is Snoop out of nowhere accepting the invitation. Nelly, defiant. I saw a video with him being defiant, saying, show me where he's a white supremacist. So, and he said, the Kamala Harris didn't put any money in my pocket. I think someone else, another rapper said that, who was part of this. So
that was Soulja Boy.
Soulja Boy. That's right. Soulja Boy said that. So you look at this situation here and you're just like, you're being used. How do you not see you're being used by a majority of people who wouldn't give two shits if you got shot in the street? In fact, they'd probably do it themselves if they could. So I don't understand this situation, to be honest.
It's as simple as this, man. I mean, there's a couple of things going on there. Soulja Boy, he's always just been ignorant, and he loves talking about his money and shit. I mean, he had Soulja Boy at one point had his own video game console, which was a fucking ripoff of. Oh yeah. I want to say it was like a ripoff of maybe the Switch or something like that, or like a hack Switch that he was doing stuff with China or whatever. Soulja Boy's constantly just been whatever kind of street scam artist, and it is what it is. And when he was in his heyday of stuff that came out as far as really making ringtone music a thing, you give him credit for what he did culture wise, but he has been irrelevant for a while, and he just kind of finds his ways to do that. The Snoop thing really upset me and pissed me off, because it's one of those situations where like you go back and literally watch the video. Anybody that does that is a coon. You feel me, nephew? Anybody that does that shit like that's you ain't this, you ain't that, you ain't whatever. And then he's turning around and doing this. And what somebody what somebody said to me the other day, it was one of those situations of, if you have enough to pay Snoop's fee, Snoop will perform for whoever. And it's something crazy. It's something like either 25K or 200. I think it's like either 250K or 25K an hour.
Right.
Because think about it. That's what they were paying him for the motherfucking Olympics. That's what they were paying him for all. Like, if you pay his rate, he'll do it, which is fucking crazy to me, because you've made more than enough money at this point. So I don't understand where that's coming from, and that fucking sucks. But I think the one that was the most like, I listened to the initial statement and I was like, okay, until he got to the end, was Nelly, where he's like, hey man, you got to respect the office, you got to this, you got to that. And I was like, I feel some type of way, but I will give you this argument until he said, show me where he's ever been a white supremacist. And then I said, and now you fully lost me, and it's back to the way I felt about it when you even were announced for doing this in the first fucking place. Because miss me with that when David Duke is out here proudly supporting him, stand back and stand by. The fact that he wouldn't sued for not letting black people rent in his building.
Yeah.
The laundry list goes on. The history is there. So if you want to be ignorant and try and pretend like he doesn't have the history of this stuff, literally the Central Park Five putting out that ad, still never apologized, still never taken that back. That is one of the littlest things that you could do to show that you genuinely, you know what, maybe I did some things before that weren't the best, okay? And maybe, you know, these young men, everybody was in a fervor. I was just looking out for the safety of this woman. I was wrong. But he would literally never. And you put these 5 black men's lives, these black boys, these children's lives so vehemently in danger. Worse than it already was, because you took your billions to take out an ad demanding they get the death penalty.
Yeah.
And you've never apologized for that.
Yeah.
Ever.
And that's the sad truth. That's the sad truth.
So for Nelly to ever say something like that, to be like, show me where he's been a white supremacist, because I haven't seen it. And that's where I know that you're full of shit. If you had left that sentence out, you would have convinced a few people, maybe even myself, be like, he's saying that, like, I still think you're shit for it, but you at least presented the minorest bit of an argument that could be argued with. Yeah. And then you capped it with bullshit. You baked a beautiful cake that was probably not that tasty, but it was a cake.
I could eat it.
You frosted it with shit.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing on the Latino side of things, right? He just signed that executive order that stops all this, these programs that were set up to help the Latino and inner city kids and black kids to move or to get training to become more capable members of the workforce and to give them opportunities in these different businesses and organizations. And all of that was killed. And look at how many people on the Latino, how many young male Latinos voted for him, young male blacks voted for him. And here he is screwing you over yet again in this situation. And then you look at this. I want to bring this up. I didn't bring this up last time with the 1,500 J6ers. And I know we're going over time, Winston. I'm sorry. Are you sure you can still hang, or do you have to go, brother?
I've got about 10 minutes.
Okay. All right. So, well, then let's skip this. Let's just get to the play. Then we'll just stop this conversation because he's got only 10 minutes. Let's hit this situation here, man. We're moving off the politics stuff for now. Whatever's going to happen, we're going to monitor it for sure, both of us in our own ways. So we hope for the best, but we're prepared for the worst. I think I can safely say that. So let's turn to something a little more lighthearted. Winston, what do we got going on here? We got playoffs this weekend. We got playoffs this weekend. We aren't doing game time regularly anymore because honestly, just is a lot. And with both our schedules, is a lot to schedule it. But we got ourselves the Commanders versus the Eagles. We've got the Bills versus the Chiefs yet again in the playoffs.
What an interesting set of photos.
Yeah.
That you had all the teams tackling each other, but the wrong teams. The Chiefs tackling the Eagles, Washington being tackled by the Bills or by the Chiefs, or then the Bills being tackled by the Eagles. Did you do that on purpose?
No, I found this on the internet, and I was like, this is great because this could be the possible Super Bowl.
I guess the combos of all the Super Bowls. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. So
I just wow. Okay. So in order of preference.
Okay. Go ahead.
Here is where I stand as far as how I hope this goes down, and then I'll give my prediction.
Okay, sounds good.
At the top of the list, Patty makes history. Go get that three-peat. Wow. You have done what has never been done before. Sean Brennan is probably beside himself right now with joy. But he does what's never been done before. Yeah. You get the argument of potentially dethroning Brady as the GOAT already, just based off of a lot of the metrics that he's done. And you did something that feels impossible to do. Like, there's a lot of stuff that goes in that conversation that pull up. So that's my first preference.
Okay.
You want to take a guess what my second preference is?
Jaden Daniels.
Is that Jaden Daniels becomes the first rookie quarterback to win the Super Bowl. And the fact that it's with the Washington fucking Commanders should say so much about where my heart is right now with the Cowboys. But I really like Jaden. I like how he carries himself. I like watching how he plays. I go back to hearing about this VR training that he made paramount if he was going to sign with any team, that they were going to allow him to do that. Because, you know, part of what you just found out about that? Well, I found out about that months ago. And so he also tapped into the nerd in me about that, because I'm thinking back to my Metal Gear Solid days where the whole VR missions, the point is that you were able to train the next Solid Snake by putting them through VR training. So like my nerd alert went off on that. And what he does is he'll do it in real time, but he'll also do it in 1.75. So he has to think faster. So then when he actually has to be on the field and do that shit, his brain is already clicking at how this works. Yeah. And that is what is so absolutely incredible to see something like that happen. It's wild. Yeah. My third option, if this has to go down, is the Bills. You know? Yeah,
absolutely. Josh.
Is the Bills Mafia, all that, and fuck the Eagles forever. That's just how I feel about that. Fuck them. I don't like them. I'm still mad that they took that goddamn record from Barkley. I would have maybe been rooting for them if Barkley had gotten the record. Then I'd have been like, oh man, all right, but no, fuck y'all. So what about you? What are obviously you want Jaden first?
Wait, but you haven't said who's going to win. Who's going to win? Who's your predictions?
I think the Chiefs got it. I think the Bills are going to put up a ridiculous fight, but I just think that they're on this mission, man. And the fact that Kelsey essentially did what a lot of older players will do is that they're like, yeah, it looks like I'm not in it. I was saving myself. And then he just went off. My head says the Eagles beat y'all. My heart says that you pull it off. And that's because if you did it to the #1 seed and in the fashion that you did it, Hurts didn't necessarily look that good. That should be going through Barkley anyway. He is clearly the star of that team at this point. But Hurts didn't necessarily look that good. So if Quinn's defense can put the same pressure that they need to, and you can contain that run, which they did a pretty decent job. Like Gibbs still did his thing. Yeah, Gibbs didn't have some crazy fucking game. You know what I'm saying? You kept Josh Jacobs against the Packers. You kind of kept him reined in. So like, because that's who y'all played, right? You played the Packers.
No. We played.
You played the Bucks. Yeah. You kept Irving in check. He still had like 85 and a touchdown, but he didn't break 100 yards, and he wasn't breaking off no crazy runs. Yeah. So like, I think you can do it. My head says Eagles. My heart says Commanders. Yeah. And the only thing that would be funnier if the Chiefs are going to lose and it is the Bills, it should be the Commanders, because you know what would really be serendipitous is if we repeat the 90s of 4 straight Bills Super Bowls and 4 times that the NFC East beats them in the Super Bowl.
Oh my God. Can you imagine?
Nothing would make me laugh harder. Nothing would make me laugh. I know there's a lot of Bills Mafia that if I ever see this, they're going to try and have my head like Luigi, bro. But that nothing would be funnier.
So here's what I think. I think the Chiefs have been waiting to get beat all year. And this is the moment. And I think it's not going to be close. I think the Bills are going to win this game 37-10. And I think it's going to be a wake-up call because they finally got too old. They finally got exposed for the patchwork receiving core they have there for Kansas City. And look, the Texans defense was doing a good job on Patrick. If Deshaun had been able to play a little bit better as a quarterback, not Sean, what am I saying? If who's quarterback of the Texans again? I forgot.
CJ Stroud. You were struggle busting right there.
CJ had played better and had completed some passes, been a little more aware and gotten through the defense. I think they could have won that game. I think the Bills defense is a strong defense, and certainly they're prepared to play Patrick. And we saw in the Super Bowl against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, when a defense is dialed into that Chiefs team, there's nothing that Chiefs team can do to beat it. And so I would argue that there is a very strong possibility that Buffalo is going in there with nothing to lose and having taken care of a really strong Ravens team. But you got to remember something.
I'm here with you. You got to remember something. That Baltimore defense, they were fucking up at the beginning. They held Buffalo to 6 points in the second half. The Baltimore defense turned it on.
Right.
They turned it on. Where Baltimore ran into trouble is that Lamar made too many mistakes too early, and he recovered exceptionally well, but it was too little, too late. And then be mad at Mark Andrews all you want. you got to remember there was a whole game that was played before that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They were in a position that Mark Andrews had to catch that catch.
Yeah.
It should not have been there because, in my opinion, they were this better team, but the Bills outplayed the fuck out of them.
I thought it was a bad throw. I know people don't think I know people want to blame Mark Andrews. I think Lamar placed that ball in the wrong place. He should have placed it ahead of Andrews, so he catches that, swings around, and puts that across the line. Nothing says Andrews catching that ball would have put him across the line with the ball. He could have caught the ball, fallen down, and they don't let him turn the ball around to go across the line, and it wouldn't have counted. So I think that's what the situation was there. Plus, it was slippery. I don't blame Andrews, man. It's a snow.
Plenty of that, but still, it is your one job.
Yeah, I know. I don't
one
disagree.
job.
Yeah, and certainly it fumbled the ball earlier. So yeah.
I mean, I also appreciate. I see this that the Bills fans apparently raised money for Mark Andrews' charity after the drop. That's actually really good of them. It's actually really good of them to do that. But my last little pushback about the Chiefs are this is it. You got to remember, they're not an offense-focused team anymore. They still have arguably the best player in the world, in Patrick Mahomes, and a dynamo in Kelsey, and then all of a sudden, now the whole receiving corps is healthy. Here comes Hollywood Brown, even though he didn't have a catch. He's getting back in the swing of things. Xavier Worthy looks like he is going to be the dude that he is going to be. You got Hopkins out there, Hunt's in there, and Pacheco. You got all your weapons back, more or less, minus Rashee Rice. So that's fine. I'm looking at that defense that had 8 fucking sacks, bro. They had 8 sacks. What do you think is going to happen once Josh Allen gets big-ass Chris Jones sitting on his head? Welcome to big-ass barbecue. You know what I'm saying? Like, just it'll be interesting.
More mobile. Josh is more mobile than CJ Stroud. So I'm just saying.
Be interesting.
And he's a big boy. Josh Allen is a big boy.
Josh a big boy. That's a corn-fed white boy.
Yeah. Apparently, there's video of Mark Andrews in Baltimore pumping gas. I didn't see this.
I've seen this video.
That is not.
I've seen this video. That's messed up, bro. That's messed up, bro.
That's ridiculous, y'all. Come on, have some faith. As far as the Redskins and as far as the Commanders and the Eagles, yeah, I know it's
John. Have you said that once or twice in your life? Is that that's like 3 decades of undoing your body.
I've been watching old R-Skins games this week, so I'm kind of in that place. But no, I think it's going to be a tight game, but I do think the Eagles are going to win. I think they're just a stronger team. I think we're way ahead of schedule.
They're not that good though. They're good. They're good. They're very good. You have Saquon effing Barkley,
right?
But
I know.
Look what the Rams legitimately almost did to them.
Yeah, they were that close.
In
the snow, they were that close. You're right. If Darnold had thrown, if he had thrown a better pass to Woods, I think it was Woods or it was Nakua, I think he'd have gotten into that end zone or gotten out of bounds at least to give them another shot. Stafford. So I think that was on Stafford. The ball just sailed on him, and that sack he took was just too devastating in that situation. But bro, if the kid can step up, if the kid can once again prove me wrong, I think he'll beat anybody in the Super Bowl. If he can run this gamut on the road, then I think it's either Kansas City or Buffalo. I'm going with my Commanders and Daniels. I just don't know if our defense is strong enough to stop Saquon because we've been terrible against the run all year. I don't worry about the pass defense because I think we're going to have that set up because Jalen can't throw anymore. But it's a matter of the running. That's the thing that I'm concerned about the most. But we'll see. We'll see what can happen. Because if we're getting in the backfield to unsettle Hurts like we did with Goff, then I think sky's the limit. Honestly,
is it supposed to snow again in Philly?
It's a chance of snow. There's a chance of snow.
I mean, but that's the thing. You're dealing with another team that's from that area, bro. This isn't LA having to fly cross country, which they still handled their business for playing in that snow.
Yeah.
Jesus, man. They got 7 sacks on Jalen. I really thought they were going to pull this off, man. But oh well.
We'll see.
Oh well.
We got a bunch of questions, but I know you got to go.
Let's do the questions. Let's knock them out real fast. Let's knock them out real fast.
Real fast though, Winston. I know you go 5 minutes.
I love to talk. Real fast.
I know. Stephanie Litz, his thoughts on Chappelle's SNL monologue. Stay safe. I loved it.
I did too.
Yeah, I thought so too. Thank you, Stephanie. Jorge Iniestra. Hello, Jorge. More likely another 2 black quarterback-led Super Bowl in BHM and KDOT performance as well. Who says no to a Daniels versus Josh game? Go Washington from a Pats fan. Yeah. Jaden versus Josh Allen would be a lot of fun. Jaden, but if you got look, you have 2 black quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. Hell yeah. You dial it up.
It's technically a 50% shot, right? Because you could throw out the NFC side, a black quarterback's going. It's literally, can Patty get it done?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Owen Lanning says, if I was heavy and I had to choose between Ryan's, yeah, Reynolds brings the money off of Deadpool box office wise, but who's the better actor? It's Gosling, hands down. Money aside, Gosling is such a good actor. Yeah, I agree.
Sean Levy. Okay, if I was Levy, I had to choose between Ryan and Ryan, between the Ryans. Got it.
Yeah.
I think yes, I think he is the better actor, but you also have a working relationship with Reynolds. And Reynolds, on top of that, is a marketing genius. So that will also lean into whatever you decide to do. But I don't have a problem with either one.
I think Gosling's the smarter choice for where you want to go. Ryan is more of a obviously playful guy. So it depends on what Star Wars. Like Ryan and Skeleton Crew, that could have made
both
sense.
Ryan. So you got to say either Reynolds or Gosling.
Oh, sorry. Fine.
Ryan's a playful guy, man. I mean, he's just out here playing all the time during the Fall Guy and playing all the time during Guy. Like, what was that called? Free Guy?
Free Guy?
Fall Guy? Ryan.
Reynolds for Skeleton Crew would have been a lot of fun. Gosling, though, is what you want to lead the Star Wars movie with. I think that makes the most sense.
I think so.
Karen von der Maiden, what's up, Karen? Do you think that Musk is a Nazi sympathizer? I'm Jewish and I'm offended by what he did. I don't know, because certainly I think his great-grandfather or his grandfather, I think they've said that they were members of the Nazi party or part of the Nazi situation. And certainly he has made some anti-Semitic or deemed to be anti-Semitic remarks in the past. So I don't know if I'm not ready to categorize it. All I've said is that I think that was a Nazi salute. Do I think he's a Nazi? I don't have enough information to say that. I was only commenting on what he did and what I feel like that movement meant.
Been very questionable on social media, so that's all I'll say on that. But I do think that what he did was a Nazi salute. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Gabe Oliver 805 says, "How the hell can you support Brutalist AI? Aren't you a fellow actor? Hiring a dialect coach is an aid to your natural talent." Winston, got my back. So
what are we talking about?
So real quick, it came out from the editor of The Brutalist that they used AI tools to have to make tweaks to the Hungarian that both Adrian Brody and from Rogue One, I forget her name right now, but from when they were speaking Hungarian, they used AI Pro Tools to make them speak the Hungarian more authentically. And people are trying to say that that's a reason they shouldn't be nominated for an Oscar. It's not an full-on AI assisted performance. It's just little tweaks here and there. But I see some people going crazy like Chicken Little that this is the opening of AI and they should be disqualified. None of the adjustment on them speaking Hungarian affected their foundational performance. So that's my point of view on this.
I don't know enough about the situation to speak on it directly because that was very quickly. I will say this much. I have been very vocal about how I don't fuck with AI. There are things in which I do, very minor things in which I do. But things like that, I would want to know, did the actor sign off on that? What goes beyond all of that? Because that's one of the things that was fought about during the strike was about the idea of there's no more ADR. We'll just AI your voice, which is bullshit. That's all of that is a problem. I would say just off of the basic thing that I heard, I would say it should potentially disqualify them because that feels like a performance enhancing drug. Part of doing your character would be able to get the dialect properly. We've been crushing Selena Gomez for the way she's been speaking Spanish. So if we're going to do that, then I think you need to put it in the same breath that if you're going to have somebody that feels like you're auto-tuning your shit and not even just auto-tuning it, it almost feels like you're Milli Vanilli motherfucking like lip syncing with the robot doing it for you.
That's what I want to ask you real quick. Do you think Natalie Wood should not have been nominated for Best Actress because someone else sang all her songs? In West Side Story.
Oh,
that's the same thing what you're saying.
If that by that nature, then yeah, actually.
Okay. All right.
If yes, like because at that point, the singing and dancing is a part of the acting job.
Okay.
So I would make the argument that yes, potentially that would actually fall into place for that. Yeah.
So if James Earl Jones gets nominated for Darth Vader, shouldn't David Prowse as the body be nominated with him?
Did he get nominated for Darth Vader?
I'm saying if he was. That's what I'm trying.
But he didn't, so that's a weird hypothetical to throw at me because it didn't happen.
All right, fine.
In which case, you know what I'm saying? That's you can't do that because it's not something that because nobody even knows how that would play out. If you can give me an example of some time where the VO for a live act, then sure. But I don't like.
Look at the Winston Pam Bondi over here. I don't answer hypotheticals. I don't answer.
It's not that. That's just not a very strong. Well, you know what I'm saying? It would be better. A better argument would be like if there was a fight choreography, huh?
How about Pedro Pascal? If he got nominated for a Mandalorian, shouldn't the actor who was in the body, in the costume, be nominated with Pedro Pascal? Because Pedro was mostly a voiceover performance.
So that's what I guess. What I'm confused. He got nominated for what? For an Emmy?
For Mandalorian, for best actor for the Emmys.
So I understand that during any of the actual like fight sequence shit, he wasn't in it. That happens all the time. That's why you have stunt actors. You're telling me the entire time that he was never in that suit except for when he took the helmet off?
Season 3, he was never in that suit. It was all voiceover.
And that's when he got nominated.
No, he got nominated for season 1. I'm just saying. All right, fine. You know what?
Look, I need you to like stop making up shit. I need you to stick to your own rules, bitch. I'm not falling for it. You ain't not the rope a dope. I'm out here like Muhammad Ali. I'm dodging that shit.
I don't have to stick to my own
dodging that shit. You not hell no.
Body blow. Cowboys fan night season. Hi, John and Winston. Hope you're both good. Thank you. Hey, Marshall, we finally got Mike out of our franchise. And by the way, on the political thing, y'all, we need to organize and fight more than ever. Fair point. We finally got Mike out of our franchise. Oh, Mike McCarthy. Right. Okay.
Yeah. And that was the whole thing. I remain mad that, sure, I think McCarthy needed to go.
Yes.
But if you were going to do it, it needed to happen a whole week earlier. And instead, you lost the opportunity to get a lot of potential really high candidate coaching. I mean, at this point, fuck it. Let's see what Sanders can do. And hopefully that's the direction we're going, because I am terrified about the reports that apparently Jason Witten has been talked to. His only experience is coaching high school. Do not fucking hire Jason Witten as the head coach, man. That's Jeff Saturday all over again.
I was just going to say Jeff Saturday. Well, Aaron Glenn is still out there. So hopefully Aaron gets that job maybe. Sean Brennan says, hey, fellas, love to see you two together. Glad I get to tell you congratulations on your Commanders. Rocha, future is bright. Yes, it is. For now, if he stays healthy. So thank you, Sean. Appreciate it. We love to see you. Cooley, hi. What's up, Cooley, brother? Not to mention that Trump is the first convicted felon to be president. We in for a wild 4 years. That's for sure.
I stand by what a lot of pundits have said. If that's really where we're at now, if a felon can be president, then they need to take that off of job applications, unless it's like, were you a violent felon? You know what I'm saying? If you want to do that, I'll give you that, but you need to take the rest of that shit off of job applications if we're allowed to do that.
But did you instigate a riot? That's what I need to know. Did you instigate a riot? Chris Corcoran says, Elon just set himself up for another Luigi situation doing that salute. He's both racist and stupid. Chris, we're not advocating violence, brother. That's not something we want to do or support or be in any way situation saying that should happen. So I hear what you're saying, that he might be setting himself up, but we don't want to put that in the universe. That's not the way to handle these kinds of things, man.
One exception, because somebody brought up a better example real quick, would be Rami Malek for Bohemian Rhapsody. The exception to that, because if I remember correctly, he did not have a different actor doing it. They just used recordings of Freddie Mercury.
Yes.
So that's a little different to me, because this is a biopic about a specific person. So you use actual recordings, but he had to go and do the rest of the performance.
Right.
So that's a little different versus this is a new character and I'm acting, but Rocha's singing for me. There's something about that feels fucking cheap. And if you're going to do that, then it needs to be we're splitting that Oscar. Otherwise, that's nonsense.
Just tweaks, though. Just tweaks. It wasn't the whole.
It wasn't you. You didn't do the accent, so you don't get to say that was your character.
Matt Sinister McCall says political commentary dislike on both sides. Scott Jennings for me and Jake Tapper. I'm starting to really not like Jake Tapper anymore. What about you, pundit? I mean, Winston, do you have pundits on both sides that you don't like?
Political commentator dislike on both sides. I mean, pretty much everybody on Fox News, because they're in some weird space. But God, Van Jones? So annoying. So annoying. I am flip-flopping ass bastard. I don't.
Yeah. Cut the tears out, bud. Eric Kirby says, if Josh Allen wins, Donald Trump would kick out Vance and make him VP because he beat 3.5 black quarterbacks. Wouldn't it be 2.5? Oh, anyway. Oh, well, no, because of Lamar. Oh, yeah. All right. You win, Eric. Jesus.
Who did the Bills play in the first round?
I don't fucking remember.
I don't
The
even
Chargers?
know because
Is it the Chargers?
I don't know. Let me go to the scores.
Yeah.
Let's see. It would have been the wild card round. They played. Nope. They played the Broncos.
Oh.
He be one white one. That Bo Nix over there.
That's for sure. Bo Nix. Adimo says Hall of Fame. Michiro Sabathia and Billy Wagner. Yes, very happy to see Ichiro Suzuki and Sabathia in there and Billy Wagner as well, for sure. Thank you, Nerds Engage. They're very kind of you. Thank you to come down here live. Matt Sister McCall says, my fake NFL team, the Washington State Cavities. Oof, don't say that. I got the dentist on Friday. Haskell 420 says, hey, guys, I sent you both post of Philadelphia mayor leading the Eagles chant at a rally today. Oh, my God.
I don't want to watch it.
LOL. I don't want to watch it.
I don't want to watch it.
Fantastic says, here Cowboys want John Gruden. No.
Ew.
All right, real quick. Fantastic. Hey, Spill the Tequila, show my support. Thank you. I know Star Wars is catatonic when trying to make anything that doesn't include any legacy characters, but where do you think Lucasfilm should start with the new saga, or should they just reboot?
Reboot.
All right, reboot. I agree, reboot. Hazy Chestnuts says, just because Elon retweets Nazis and endorses the modern Nazi party of Germany and embraces Nazi ideology and makes the Nazi salute doesn't mean he's a Nazi. It's probably just an unfortunate coincidence.
Ooh. Keep pushing.
I'm probably going to get banned now, but yeah, I hear you. There's certainly stuff to explore there.
Yep.
Doug Developer says, Lamar has been a great leader, always says the right thing, and wasn't bitter when pundits had said he would switch to wide receiver, which I think had racial undertones. He's very likable, and I think the media does feel bad calling him a choker. Well, I don't think he's a choker, but I do think he blows it in big games. I don't know necessarily that he's a choker, though.
It's Peyton Manning right now.
Yeah, it's Peyton Manning. He's 100% Peyton Manning right now. You got to show us before we can give you your flowers. John Elway was the same thing.
Right now, he's also James Harden in the NBA, and James Harden has never figured it out. So you got to hope that he doesn't end up being James Harden, where he misses his peak and then he's out. He's got to figure it out, man.
Going team to team. I am Too Fly Cam says, hey fellas, been a while. What's up? I am Too Fly Cam. He says, I had a rough end to 2024, but wishing you all the best as well as everyone watching. Take care of the people around you and reach out, even if it's awkward. Looking forward to 2025, even with the unfortunate White House situation. Hey, brother, we're always here for you, man. I hope you're okay. I think Winston and I hope you're okay. And however your 2024 ended, hope you're bouncing back in a better state of mind, right, Winston?
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Absolutely, Too Fly Cam. I'm very sorry about that, brother, but happy to hear from you.
Absolutely. He said, and he also said, say what you want about the prequels. The Revenge of the Sith is better and more emotional than anything Disney made, including Rogue One. You're wrong. The proof is the fact that they're bringing back all the prequel characters. Where's the sequel callbacks at, Ella? Well, there hasn't been enough time yet. Too Fly Cam, but don't be surprised. I mean, they're already talking about bringing back Rey, and from my sources, bringing back Finn. So I think we're going to, if they go forward with it, and it's a big if, we're going to see those sequel characters back at some point. So we'll see. Quadface says, glad you're all right, Winston, my Texas brethren. Who gets the next win, Kathleen Kennedy or Jerry Jones? Oh, hey, Rocha.
Kennedy actually has a higher probability there because I know they both can't get out of their way, but he's a billionaire.
Yeah.
That's a whole other level of arrogance.
Agreed. Doug Developer says, America wants fighters and the Democratic Party lacks leaders who are tough and know how to fight. It's sad that the party's biggest fighters would physically have the lowest chance in being president, a black woman in Jasmine Crockett and a Latina in AOC. Never count. You never know how things change in the world. And I think with young people coming through, man, the idea of a black woman becoming president or a Latina woman becoming president, I don't think is as far-fetched as it would have been 20 years ago. And as both of them get older and mature, an AOC Crockett ticket, fucking sign me up for that shit. I would love to see that. But even the Democratic Party leadership kind of wants to keep AOC in her place, which is frustrating. So I think things have to change within the party itself. And I think Doug's 100% right. What do you think about what he said?
Not to be ageist. These old people got to go.
Yeah, I agree.
And maybe to be ageist, I take it back. Because there's a level of this is a whole conversation. And it was a video I wrote, but I never shot. And maybe I need to do it. I'm not anti old people being able to live their best life, but there is this weird situation of you are not allowing the kids and the grandkids you supposedly brought in this world to thrive, because you are hoarding everything. Yeah. Nobody's saying you got to go be quiet and live and hamper in a corner, but you're not letting go of political positions. You're not letting go of starter homes, of a thing that should allow a young family to be able to start to live their lives. It's jobs, all sorts of stuff. Yeah. And it's fucking crazy. But
yep, 100% agreed, man. All right, sorry, I got to take these comments out. One last one here from Shawnee Bear. How on MLK Day did we allow a known proud neo-Nazi Trump back as president of the USA? Well, I respect the office of the president. I will never respect the orange shit stain who will hold that office. Oof, that is strong statements, Johnny.
It is a strong statement. It's why we did counter programming yesterday with Blurs in the Hood, man, because I was like, nah, you know what I'm not about to do on MLK Day is talk about this tangerine. I'm not going to do it. So
yeah, agreed. Haunted _ Autumn says, I'm sick of the brutalists taking the brunt of this AI controversy. Carla Sofia Gascon's singing was AI augmented in Emilia Perez. Anyway, love you guys. Yeah, now that's there's a splitting.
Still haven't seen it, but everything that I've heard, it's apparently got some issues as a movie already. So I guess when you throw it all together, that furthers the argument of if that's the case, then she doesn't deserve that either. Like, if anything, all you did was further my argument. I just said if somebody's doing that shit, then get the fuck up out of here. I don't. That's nuts to me, because the point is, it's not to say you don't have makeup, you don't have costumes, you don't have editing to help you with stuff, but you're literally talking about changing it in such a fundamental way that you're fixing whatever pitch that somebody's flat or anything else like that. We literally have ADR. She can go back and re-sing that shit and make it better, but you didn't. You literally had to have someone go doctor your shit to make it happen. So no, then I do not think she is worthy of any of the awards. If that's what you're telling me happened, I stand where I stand.
It's a very interesting conversation with a lot of levels to it, for sure. Chris Corcoran says, not advocating for it with Elon, though, just saying he's not being smart. All right, that's fair. I appreciate the clarification, Chris. He had said earlier that he might be setting himself for a Luigi situation. So, all right, let's shut it down there. Winston, we went way over time. I apologize, over 2 hours. We try to keep these to 90 minutes. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for hanging out tonight. I know we're keeping you from your lady, but please, one more time, let people know where you're at, where they can follow you, and watch all the content that you do so well there on the Swaggy Blurred YouTube channel.
Absolutely. Again, you can find me at the Swaggy Blurred on all platforms, but especially here on YouTube. We're well on my drive to 5, man. I've got reactions coming. I got a Blurred breakdown tomorrow. It's my pop culture show for when you need to know, see what happened was. Lots of really fun stuff in there. I've been streaming over on Twitch, playing Marvel Rivals and stuff like that, and just shooting the shit. I'm now going to be streaming also some more Sparking Zero, because my nigga Beast Gohan is here, baby. I've been waiting for this for so long. So all that stuff, come and check me out. I'm going to go ahead and just call it right here, but much love to everybody. Thanks for spilling tequila with the two of us. I'll see you later, Rocha.
All right. Take care, brother, man. Thank you so much. As for me, you can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. The Outlaw Nation on Twitch. Subscribe down below if you love what we did here. Please give us your questions, thoughts, and comments about all the topics we talked about here on the show, and let us know what you feel about everything we've said, and what you think is going to happen in the next 4 years, what you think we should do, what your feelings are about all that. What do you think about Star Wars? What do you think about the idea of Ryan Gosling? Do you think Natalie Portman is coming back? Is this a bit of subterfuge going on there, a bit of a shell game, what have you? And of course, your thoughts on the playoffs, the NFL playoffs, and Nelly and Snoop there performing at the inauguration and all of that as well. And don't forget, we got Geek Buddies coming up later on this week. Got the Hot Mic coming up in a couple of days. There probably won't be a Jedi Way, but maybe I can talk to Kevin and Laura into doing a quick impromptu one to discuss the Star Wars stories that have come out this week. We shall see. But look for all that stuff happening here on the channel. And don't forget my live show earlier today, where I watched that 9.5-minute video of Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively on set with multiple takes of this dance sequence that they did that is the source of the accusations of sexual harassment and body shaming, sexual harassment from Blake Lively's side, and body shaming from Justin Baldoni's side, to hear my thoughts on all of it as well. So thank you guys. Love you all so much. Take care of yourselves. Be well. And we'll see you next time with another brand new episode here of Spill the Tequila. Peace. Until then, I am Two Fly Cam. I love you, brother. Be better. Be better. Be safe in 2025.
Yeah. Money make the world go round. I'm trying to get it all right now. Everybody worried about the crown. Big, look, call me on the man right now. kind of time we on. Don't roll like the